Hey everyone, this is Miss Mahler here. For this week, we are going to review Chapter 6, Equations and Inequalities. For your assignments, you are going to complete 10 multiple choice problems and 3 word problems. Everything is on Google Docs this week, so you can go ahead and type your answers right on the Google Docs. If you're having trouble with that, you can always do it on a separate piece of paper and take a picture of it, upload it to Google Classroom. If you guys need any help, please email me or come to my office hours. Now, I want to talk about this first because many of you are just jumping right to the assignments and marking them as done. However, many of you are not watching the videos I'm making. How can you know what to do if you're not watching the videos? So please go back and rewatch the videos that are in each Google Slides presentation. I explain how to do all of these problems. I explain how to graph. If you still need help after watching the videos, come to my office hours and I can walk you through step by step. First, we're going to look at lessons 1 through 3, how to solve one-step equations. So to do this, we are going to do the inverse operation. Now, inverse means opposite. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. The opposite of subtraction is addition. The opposite of multiplication is division. And the opposite of division is multiplication. So when you're solving these one-step equations, you're just going to do the opposite operation. Also in these lessons, we learned about the reciprocal. The reciprocal is when you flip the numerator and the denominator. The numerator is the top number, the denominator is the bottom number. So when you find the reciprocal, you are going to flip them so the bottom number goes to the top and the top number goes to the bottom. Let's work through some examples together. Number 1, h plus 3 equals 14. So we're going to do the opposite operation. So we'll circle our plus 3. The opposite of plus 3 is minus 3. So then we'll do 14 minus 3 to get 11. Bring down your variable h, and there is your answer. H equals 11. Number 2, c minus 2 equals 6. We're going to circle the part we're changing, so circle minus 2. When we bring the minus 2 to the other side, we're going to change to its opposite, which is plus 2. Then we're going to add that together. 6 plus 2 equals 8. Bring down your variable c and the equal sign, and that's the answer. C equals 8. Number 3, negative 7y equals 42. Whenever you see a number next to a letter, it is showing multiplication. So this is showing negative 7 times y. To get rid of our multiplication, we need to divide, since that's the opposite. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 7. The negative 7s on the left side will cross out because they are the same number. You can bring down your variable y. And then 42 divided by negative 7 equals negative 6. And that is our answer. Y equals negative 6. Number 4, b over 9 equals 2. Whenever we see something that looks like a fraction, it is showing division. This is showing b divided by 9. To get rid of division, we need to do the opposite. The opposite of division is multiplication. Multiply both sides times 9. Your 9s on the left will cross out since they are the same number. Bring down your variable b, and then 2 times 9 equals 18. That's the answer. B equals 18. Number 5, 21 equals 0.75x. This is showing multiplication. It's showing 0.75 times x. To get rid of multiplication, we need to do the inverse operation, which is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 0.75. The 0.75s on the right will cross out since they are the same number. Bring down your variable x. Then we're going to divide 21 divided by 0.75, and that is 28. There's our answer, 28 equals x. Number 6, 3/5 z equals 12. Now this is showing 3/5 times z, but since it's a fraction, we're going to use the reciprocal here. The reciprocal is when you flip the number so that the bottom number becomes the top and the top number becomes the bottom. So we're going to flip this and make it 5/3. We're going to multiply this on both sides. The fractions on the left side will cross out because they are the same numbers just flipped. 12 times 5/3 equals 20, and you can bring down your variable z for your answer. Z equals 20. So when you're solving one-step equations, always remember to do the inverse or the opposite operation. The next lessons that I'm going to review are lessons 4 and 5, solve two-step equations. For these lessons, we used the order of operations in reverse. This is also known as SADMEP. The S stands for subtraction, A addition, D division, M multiplication, E exponents, P parentheses. So this is the order that we're going to solve the problems, starting with S subtraction and working our way through the word SADMEP. In these lessons, we also refreshed our memory about distributive property. Distributive property is when you multiply the number on the outside times each number on the inside. In class, we draw arrows to show multiplication. Once again, we're going to see the reciprocal in these problems. So the reciprocal is when we flip the numerator and the denominator. The bottom number becomes the top, and the top number becomes the bottom. Let's work through some of these two-step equation examples. Number 1, 6x plus 2 equals 26. We're going to follow the order of SADMEP. S is for subtraction, but we do not have any subtraction. Then comes A. We do have addition, so we'll circle our addition. When we move the plus 2 over to the other side, we're going to change it to minus 2. 26 minus 2 equals 24. Then you can bring down your 6x and the equal sign. The next letter in SADMEP is D, division, but we do not have division, so we can move on. After that is M, multiplication. We do have multiplication here. This is showing 6 times x. In order to get rid of our multiplication, we need to do the opposite, which is division. Let's divide both sides by 6. The 6's on the left side will cross out because they are the same number. Bring down your variable x, and then we're going to do 24 divided by 6, which is 4. And there's your answer, x equals 4. Number 2, 2 equals 4t minus 14. So we're going to use SADMEP to solve this problem. S is for subtraction. We do have subtraction, so let's circle that. When we move the minus 14 to the other side, it's going to change to plus 14. Add that together. 2 plus 14 equals 16. Bring down your 4t. The next letter in SADMEP is A, addition. We do not have any addition. After that is D, division. We do not have any division. After division comes multiplication. We do have multiplication here. This is showing 4 times t. In order to get rid of our multiplication, we need to do the opposite, which is division. Let's divide both sides by 4. The 4's on the right side will cross out because they are the same number. 16 divided by 4 equals 4. And you can bring down your variable t, and there's your answer, 4 equals t. Let's look at number 3. For number 3, we have a number on the outside of parentheses. We're going to use distributive property to solve this problem. And we're going to show arrows to show our distributive property. So first, let's draw an arrow from 10 to y. This is showing 10 times y. Whenever you multiply a number and a letter, just stick them together. Number and a letter, stick them together. So 10 times y equals 10y. Now we need to draw our other arrow from the 10 over to 3. 10 times 3 equals 30. Since there was a plus sign in the middle of our parentheses, we're going to bring down our plus sign again. And we can bring down the equals -20 part. Now we have a two-step equation that we're going to use SADMEP to solve. So we don't have subtraction, but we do have addition. So let's circle the plus 30. When we move the plus 30 to the other side, it's going to change to -30. -20 minus 30 equals -50. You can bring down your 10y on the left side. So using SADMEP, D would come next, but we do not have division. After that is M, multiplication. We do have multiplication. This is showing 10 times y. So to get rid of our multiplication, we need to do the opposite, which is division. Divide both sides by 10. The 10s on the left side will cross out because they are the same number. Bring down your variable y, and then we're going to divide -50 divided by 10, and that will give us -5. And there's our answer, y equals -5. Number 4. So in number 4, we have a fraction. Whenever we have a fraction, we're going to flip it to its reciprocal. The reciprocal is when you flip the top number and the bottom number. So the reciprocal of 3/4 is 4/3. We're going to multiply by the reciprocal on both sides. The fractions on the left side will cross out because they're the same fraction. We can bring down the x minus 12 in parentheses. And then 3 times 4/3 equals 4. Now we have a simple one-step equation. Remember, when we solve one-step equations, we're going to start by circling the part we're changing. So circle -12. When we move the -12 over to the other side, it's going to change to +12. 4 plus 12 equals 16. Bring down your x, and there's your answer. X equals 16. It's important when you're solving two-step equations to follow the reverse order of operations, or SADMEP. If it helps you, write SADMEP at the top of your paper and refer to it if you get stuck. Next, we're going to review lessons 6 and 7, solve and graph one-step inequalities. So once again, when we're solving one-step equations and inequalities, we're going to do the inverse or opposite operation. So here are all of the inverse operations. Please refer to it if you need help. In these lessons, we also learned about inequalities. Inequalities compare quantities, or how many. There are 4 different inequality symbols that we are going to be using. We have the less than symbol first. You may see the words is less than or is fewer than. When you are graphing on a number line, you are going to use an open circle and you are going to point to the left. The next one we're going to talk about is greater than. You may see the words is greater than, is more than, or exceeds. When you graph greater than on a number line, it's going to be an open circle pointing to the right. The next one we're going to talk about is less than or equal to. You may see the words is no more than or is at most. When you graph this on a number line, you're going to color in the circle and make it a closed circle. And then it's going to point to the left. The last one we're going to talk about is greater than or equal to. You may see the words is no less than, is at least. When you graph this on a number line, you're going to use a closed colored in circle, and it's going to point to the right. It is important when you're graphing inequalities to always have the variable on the left. If you have the variable on the right, it might not match the direction that the inequality symbol is pointing. I'll explain more when I go through some examples in a bit. Something super important that we need to remember from this lesson is the flip-flop rule. The flip-flop rule is when you have to flip the inequality symbol when you multiply or divide by a negative number. This only happens when you multiply or divide by a negative number. You need to flip-flop the inequality symbol. Let's go through some example problems. Number 1, t minus 6 is greater than 3. So we're going to circle the part we're changing just like we would an equation. So circle minus 6. When we move the minus 6 over to the other side, it's going to change to plus 6. Bring down your variable t and your inequality symbol. 3 plus 6 equals 9. There is our solution. T is greater than 9. Number 2, b plus 9 is less than or equal to 2. Once again, we're going to circle the part we're changing, circle plus 9. When we move the plus 9 over to the other side, we're going to change it to minus 9. 2 minus 9 equals negative 7, and we can bring down our variable b and the inequality symbol. There's the solution. b is less than or equal to negative 7. Number 3, 60 is greater than or equal to 12x. So this is showing 12 times x, so to get rid of our multiplication, we need to do division. Divide both sides by 12. The 12s on the right will cross out because they are the same number. 60 divided by 12 equals 5. Bring down your inequality symbol and the variable. There's your answer. 5 is greater than or equal to x. Number 4. Negative a over 2 is less than 4. Whenever you see something that looks like a fraction, it is showing division. This is showing negative a divided by 2. So to get rid of this, we need to do the opposite, which is multiplication. So we're going to multiply both sides by negative 2. The negative 2's on the left will cross out because they are the same number. So we're just left with a. 4 times negative 2 equals negative 8. Now, when we write our inequality symbol, we need to remember to flip it. The reason why is because we multiplied by a negative number. This is an example of the flip-flop rule. The flip-flop rule is when you need to flip the inequality symbol when you multiply or divide by a negative number. So we're going to flip the sign to make it greater than. This is the solution. A is greater than negative 8. Let's go over how to graph these on a number line. So here are all the answers. Let's go over the graph for number 1 first. T is greater than 9. So on the number line, we're going to find 9. We're going to use an open circle. Now, if it is greater than or less than, we always use an open circle. Do not color it in. If we look at the inequality symbol, it kind of looks like an arrow pointing to the right. So this gives us a hint what we need to do for the graph. So we're going to shade all of the numbers to the right of 9. Let's look at number 2. B is less than or equal to negative 7. We're going to find negative 7 on the number line. This time we're going to color in the circle. The reason why is because it is less than or equal to. Whenever we have less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, we need to color in the circle. The easiest way that I like to remember this is that if the inequality symbol has a line on the bottom, you're going to color it in, okay? So if there's a line, color it in. So for this one, we are going to shade all of the numbers to the left of negative 7 because that is the same direction that our inequality symbol is pointing. For number 3, we got this solution. 5 is greater than or equal to x. However, we always want to put our variable first. If we do not put our variable first, then our graph does not always match. So we're just going to flip the x and the 5 so that the x is on the left and the 5 is on the right. When we do this, we also need to flip the inequality symbol. The easiest way that I like to think of this is that the arrow here is pointing to the x. So when we flip it, we still need to make sure the arrow is pointing to the x. Now that we put the variable first, our graph will match the inequality symbol. So this inequality symbol is pointing to the left. So that means we're going to shade all of the numbers to the left of 5. Number 4, a is greater than -8. We're going to find -8 on the number line. We're going to put an open circle. The reason why it's going to be an open circle is because it is greater than. It does not have that line underneath the inequality symbol, so we do not need to color it in. Then we're going to shade all of the numbers to the right of -8 because that is the direction that our inequality symbol is pointing. The last lesson in our chapter is Lesson 8, Solve and Graph Two-Step Inequalities. Once again, we're going to use the order of operations in reverse, or SADMAP. So if you need to, write SADMAP at the top of your paper in order to help you solve these inequalities. Once again, the S in SADMAP stands for subtraction, A addition, D division, M multiplication, E exponents, P parentheses. Let's take a look at some examples. We are going to use SADMAP to solve all of these problems. Number 1, 3x minus 4 is greater than 17. So first we're going to circle the subtraction because that comes first in SADMAP. Then when we move the -4 over to the other side, it's going to change to +4. 17 plus 4 equals 21. And then we can bring down the 3x on the left side and our inequality symbol in the middle. This is showing 3 times x, so to get rid of our multiplication, we need to do the opposite, which is division. Divide both sides by 3. Your 3's on the left will cross out because they are the same number. Bring down your variable x and your inequality symbol. 21 divided by 3 equals 7. So here's your solution. X is greater than 7. Number 2, 12 is less than 2y plus 6. First, we're going to circle the part we're changing, so circle +6. When we move the +6 over to the other side, change it to a -6. 12 minus 6 equals 6. Bring down your inequality symbol and your 2y. This is showing 2 times y, so to get rid of our multiplication, we need to do division. Divide both sides by 2. Your 2's on the right side will cross out because they are the same number. 6 divided by 2 equals 3, and there is the solution. 3 is less than y. Number 3, 10 is greater than or equal to b over 3 plus 6. So we're going to start with the +6, circle that part. When we move it to the other side, it's going to change to -6. 10 minus 6 equals 4. Bring down your inequality symbol and b over 3. Now this is showing b divided by 3, so to get rid of division, we need to do the opposite, which is multiplication. So we're going to multiply times 3 on both sides. Your 3's on the right side will cross out because they are the same number. Bring down your variable b and your inequality symbol. 3 times 4 equals 12. There's your solution. 12 is greater than or equal to b. Number 4, -h over 2 minus 1 is greater than 5. So first we're going to circle the part we're changing. Circle -1. When we move the -1 over to the other side, we're going to change it to +1. 5 plus 1 equals 6. And you can bring down your -h over 2 and your inequality symbol. This is showing -h divided by 2. So to get rid of that, we need to do the opposite, which is multiplication. So we're going to multiply times -2 on both sides. Your -2's on the left will cross out because they are the same number. Bring down your variable h. 6 times -2 equals -12. For number 4, we need to flip the inequality symbol. The reason why is because we multiplied by a negative number. This is an example of the flip-flop rule. The flip-flop rule is when you have to flip the inequality symbol because you multiplied or divided by a negative number. So we are going to flip it to make it less than symbol. So here's our solution. H is less than negative 12. Let's talk about how to graph these. So I copied all of the solutions onto this page, and I provided graphs for each one. Let's look at the graph for number 1. X is greater than 7. So we found 7 on the number line, and we put an open circle on it. The circle does not need to be colored in because the inequality symbol is greater than. We are going to shade all of the numbers to the right of 7 because that is the same direction as our inequality symbol is pointing. Number 2. For number 2, we needed to flip it so that our variable came first. So we put the y first, but because of that, we also needed to flip our inequality symbol. So if you notice, the inequality symbol was pointing to 3. When we flipped it, we still made sure the inequality symbol was pointing to 3. So when we graphed this on a number line, we put an open circle on 3. Once again, it has to be open because it is greater than. Then we're going to shade all of the numbers to the right of 3 on the number line because that's what matches our inequality symbol. Now, if we forgot to flip it and put the variable first, it would not match our inequality symbol. So that's why it's important when you're graphing to always make sure you put the variable first. It makes it a lot easier. Number 3, we had to do the same thing and put the variable first. So we flipped the 12 and the b. We also had to flip the inequality symbol. So since the inequality symbol was pointing to the b in the first line, we flipped it to make sure it was still pointing to the b in the second line. To graph this on a number line, you're going to find 12 and you're going to put a closed colored in circle on it. The reason why it's going to be closed is because it is less than or equal to. Now, once again, the easiest way to remember this is that if the inequality symbol has a line on the bottom, you're going to color in the dot. So to finish the graph, we're going to shade all of the numbers to the left of 12 on the number line because that matches our inequality symbol. Once again, if we forgot to put the variable first, it would not match. So that's why it's very, very important to put the variable first, so that way it's easier to graph. Number 4, h is less than negative 12. You're going to find negative 12 on the number line, put an open circle on it. It has to be open because it is a less than. Then we're going to shade all of the numbers to the left of negative 12 on the number line. Since our variable was first, then it matches our inequality symbol. So everything is pointing to the left. If you'd like some extra practice, you can go back into your textbook and review Chapter 6. It is on pages 429 to 530. You can also go back to your old assignments and complete the odd number problems. I originally had you guys do the even numbers, but now you can go back and do the odd numbers if you would like more practice. As always, please email me if you need help, and I really, really encourage you guys to come to my office hours. Not that many people come, so if you do come, you will get a lot of help from me. I can walk you through step by step how to do all of these problems. This is the last week that we're going to be talking about this chapter because we need to move on to something else. So it's very, very important that if you do not understand anything in this chapter, you look back to the videos, you email me, or you come to my office hours. You will be doing this in 8th grade, so it is important that you understand it now.